Hey up everyone, welcome to the Rugby League History channel. Tonight I will be bringing you my round 15 tips for the 2021 Telstra Premiership. Last week I got 6 out of 8 right, which isn't too bad for apparently some stupid pommy cunt that should stick to Super League and me tips are shite and I don't know now about anything. Obviously I do if I got 6 out of 8 right. Obviously I'm doing alright if I got over 600 views for my last tipping video. And secondly, I know where Cronulla is. I know where Cogger is. I know where Penrith is. You want to know why? Because I've fucking been there. So Paul Mitchell, if you are a real person, if you're not Jigger Glegg, go and stick your head up your ass and blow your nose until the pressure equalises. Alright, now let's get into these tips. The first match of this round is on Thursday night. It's between Brisbane and South, and this one's being played at Suncorp Stadium. So for Brisbane, they've lost 3 games in a row now. They're actually equal on points differential with Canterbury Bankstown, which means that they're both tied for that wooden spoon place at the moment. South have won 2 games in a row. They've looked a lot better after they had those bad results against Penrith and they had the bad result against Melbourne, but they've come back. They won 2 games in a row. They're looking a bit better. Some of their players are playing better. So I'm going to go for South Sydney to win this game on the Thursday, 13+. The first game on the Friday is North Queensland v Cronulla. This one's at Queensland Country Bank Stadium up in Townsville. Cronulla is a bit of a bogey side for North Queensland. Cronulla has won the last 6 encounters against North Queensland. So North Queensland's a side that Cronulla love to play. They've won their last 3 games in a row. North Queensland, their season's effectively over in terms of actually winning the Premiership. We all know that 50-point stat. But they'll be looking to come out and they'll be looking to try to right some wrongs from last week. I mean, they've got no other option. They disgraced the jersey last week. They disgraced the club with that performance against Manly Warringah. I think Sam Revel in his tipping video, in his reaction video, said that it's the first time in almost 10 years that North Queensland have lost by 50 points. One thing for North Queensland fans that they should maybe feel a bit confident about is the fact that even though Cronulla's won these 3 games in a row, in 2 of those games they haven't looked very convincing. Against St George it was a scrappy 1-point win, and against Penrith, who had 7 of their players out, it was a scrappy win there as well. And I'm going to be honest and say if Nathan Cleary was there, Penrith would have won, because without him there, Penrith was fucking about with the ball. If Cleary was there, he just would have said, give me the ball, field goal, game over. For this game, I'm actually going to tip the upset. I'm going to go for North Queensland. They're at home. They have to fire up. They have to put some pride back in the shirt. And I'm going to tip an upset. I'm going to go for North Queensland to win 1-12 over Cronulla. The main game on the Friday sees Penrith up against Sydney Roosters. This one's at Penrith Park. For Penrith, they've lost 2 games in a row, but half their team's been out due to state of origin. For some people, that's not an excuse, because there's other clubs out there with players out and they're winning games. For Eastern Suburbs, they've won 2 games in a row. They just keep going. Week after week, they keep losing players and they keep finding ways to win matches. And it all comes down to, I think, the coach and the Trent Robinson and the depth of the club that Eastern Suburbs have at their disposal. I've been sort of tossing and turning, thinking about who to go for in this game, but from what I've read, all the origin stars for Penrith will be back for this game. So I'm going to go for Penrith to win between 1-10 points on the Friday. I think that they're going to break this 2-game losing streak and they're going to beat East on the Friday night. The first game on the Saturday is Newcastle up against New Zealand. This one's being played at Marathon Stadium, or as it's known now, McDonald Jones Stadium. Newcastle have lost 2 games in a row. They currently sit 3rd from bottom on the ladder. They're not exactly in wooden spoon territory, but if Brisbane and Canterbury start winning some games, who knows? For New Zealand, as I can tell you, they're the accumulator ruiner. Don't ever bet on New Zealand in an accumulator or remotely, because they'll let you down. But with the way that Newcastle's playing and with the players that they got out at the moment, some key players, I'm going to go for New Zealand to win this game between 1 to 10 points. I think New Zealand are going to beat Newcastle, and I think Newcastle are not going to start to play well until those key players come back for them. The next game on Super Saturday is St George up against Canberra, and this one's being played down in Wollongong there, Wynn Stadium. Canberra like playing against St George. They've won the last 3 encounters against them. St George were absolutely shite against Canterbury. Some of those tries that they let in were laughable. They've kind of hit a brick wall over the last month or so, you could see. They had that great game against Parramatta. You could probably see the game of the year they played against us, like they did last year. And ever since then, it's kind of been up and down, up and down. Canberra had that good win over Brisbane. I knew that maybe that week off, that bye, would have helped them. And it certainly looked that way against Brisbane. They put in a good performance. I thought that they played all right. For this match, I am going to go for Canberra to win. I'm going to go for them to win 1 to 12. I think St George have some problems. They got some players out at the moment. And Canberra will be looking to build on that win over Brisbane last week with a victory over St George. The final match on Super Saturday is Melbourne up against West Tigers. This one's being played at the Sunshine Coast. Melbourne have won their last 11 games. West Tigers, they had a couple of wins in a row, but then that come to a grinding halt when they were beaten pretty comprehensively by Parramatta. I'm not going to talk too much about this match. I think Melbourne's going to win 13 plus. West Tigers don't really stand much of a chance against Melbourne. As I said, Melbourne's not unbeatable. They're not invincible, but I think the likes of West Tigers are not going to be too much of a problem for Melbourne. The next game, the first match on the Sunday, sees the second biggest rivalry in the NRL. It's Parramatta against Canterbury. This one is being played at Bankwest Stadium or Western Sydney Stadium, whatever you want to say. So in the last 10 encounters, Parramatta's had the wood over their arch rivals. They've won 7 of the last 10 encounters. Even though in some of those games, Canterbury have given Para a run for their money, Parramatta's still found a way to win those. Canterbury got their second win of the year, beating St George, even though St George were quite poor. Parramatta, after a couple of disappointing performances against the likes of Manly and South, they've bounced back well. For this game, they're going to be without Micah Sivo for, I think, 2 to 3 weeks. Isaiah Papali'i avoided suspension. Reid Marnie is out. Joey Lussick's still filling in there. Despite all this and how the two teams are going, it's a rivalry game. Form goes out the window for these games. You never know what's going to happen. But I will go for Parramatta to win this match 1 to 12 points. Even though Canterbury got that win, do you see Parramatta conceding soft tries from dummy half like that against Canterbury? It could happen, but I highly doubt it. So I'm going to go for Parramatta to win 1 to 12 over Canterbury on Sunday. And the final game to close out round 15 of the 2021 Telstra Premiership, round 15, sees the Gold Coast up against Manly Warringah. And this one is being played at the Seabus Super Stadium on the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast are outside the top 8 at the moment. A stat for you, they've conceded over 30 points 6 times in matches this year. That's just not good enough to make the top 8, in my personal opinion. Manly Warringah are in great form. Gold Coast can't defend. Manly can score points at will. So I'm going to go for Manly Warringah to win this game between 1 to 12 points. But I wouldn't be surprised if it finished 13 plus or even more. So anyway, that's my tips for round 15 of the 2021 Telstra Premiership. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, this is Rugby League History signing off. And stay tuned for my Super League tipping video, which is coming out tomorrow. Alright, tatty bye now.